guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Happy to have you here with me today. I'm in a good mood today, man. I'm in a good mood. I'm rocking the Bowie shirt. I've got like 5 David Bowie shirts now.
I am stuck.
I'm a big fan, obviously, but I'm just one of those individuals. There's like kind of 2 people out there in the world, 2 types of people, I guess. People who are just like really viscerally moved by music, people who are passionate about music, and people who are just like, yeah, music, it's whatever, right? All my best friends are in the latter camp. I am in the passionately moved by all sorts of music. I love, I'm just eclectic, right? I love everything from literally, classical to blues to soul to R&B to hip hop is probably my #1 most listened to, but rock, classic rock, I mean, you name it, I'm into it, or at least I was into it at some point in my life. What about you guys? Any big massive music fans out there? It gets to me, man. It gets to me. That's what I do every night. Little, tearing down the 4th wall for you guys. Every night that I don't have my son, so basically 2 nights a week, right? I go out in the hot tub, I partake a little bit and just jam out to music, man. I see I have this beautiful backyard where I can just see basically fields, and that's it. No sign of humanity, and it is my happy place. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're if you're not a music fan, hopefully you enjoyed and respected the affinity that I have towards it. Today we're gonna talk about some champions, man. Believe it or not, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There's only 6 champions in the entire game. And the game with, what, is there 1,000 champions yet? And are they ever gonna come up with 2 more factions?
What does this light switch do?
Oh, nothing.
Did it drive you crazy to have a switch and not know what it did?
I know what it did. Nothing.
They wouldn't have put it there if it didn't do something. How can you not care?
Like this.
They've been hidden for a long time. Do we even need more factions at this point? Or do we need more champions in the other factions that they just neglect? I don't know either way, guys, but there's only 6 champions in this entire game of thousands of champions that actually have this ability. And you guys know, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you might already be able to guess what ability I'm talking about, and that is an AoE decrease speed. Now listen, guys, we put so much stock, so much value into champions that have an AoE 3-turn cooldown increase speed, but for whatever reason, I don't see people talking as much about the opposite, the inverse, but it's just as good. Decrease speed by 30% on all enemies. I mean, you add both of them, increase speed and decrease speed, that will have a dramatic effect on your runs in dungeons, in Hydra Clan Boss. Decrease speed is one of my favorite debuffs out there inside the game. The only reason I would say increase speed is a little bit better is it applies to everybody in every aspect of the game, whereas there are some bosses that are immune to decrease speed, and it's not as good as, say, decreased turn meter in the arena. But it all depends on what champions you're using and what team you're using, as always. But either way, guys, I love decreased speed. Now, there's only 6 champions in the game who have an AoE decreased speed on a 3-turn cooldown, 100% land rate. Let me repeat that. Only 6 champions, before you guys start mentioning every champion with decreased speed, that have an AoE, decreased speed, big version, 100% land rate. 3-turn cooldown. Did I say that? 3-turn cooldown? So let's go ahead and get to them. I want to give a quick, couple honorable mentions here. There's a lot of decent decreased speed champions out there, like Sylar, for example, right? It's on a 4-turn cooldown, but she's placing decreased speed with the turn meter. Like, this is a really, really good ability, right? But for especially longer fights like Hydra Clan Boss, we really want that up there on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns out of every 3. So let's go ahead and what 2 other honorable mentions really quickly here. Decreased speed on the A1 is also a very reliable thing to have because you can just keep hammering with A1s. Obviously, the 2 champions that come to mind there are none other than Krisk the Ageless, has a decreased speed 50% land rate, 55 with Sniper Mastery on his A1, and one of my personal favorites as well, Mother Cybele, right? She has an AoE on the A1, decreased speed, 50% chance at landing, also with a turn meter fill. Really, really cool kit on Mother Cybele. Big fan of that champion. You guys already know this. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get to them. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 legendaries and 2 epics, and the 2 epics may surprise some of you guys. So starting with the legendaries, Lady Kimmy.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
This Flurry of Petals is such an insane freaking ability. She's a monster of a champion, one of the best inside the entire game. An AoE attack, 100% chance to place decreased accuracy and decreased speed while we're at it. Also 100% chance when booked of decreasing each target's turn meter by 15%. What an insane ability on a 3-turn cooldown. She also brings block buffs, removing a random buff from each enemy. She's got the increased accuracy, increased speed. She's just an absolute monster of a champion, and she's one of the fastest in the game too, with a 115 base speed. So yeah, Lady Kimmy definitely there. We have a couple new additions to the game here, guys, starting with, I don't have this dude, but it's Snick Track. This guy's pretty cool, man. Not a lot of people talk about this champion. He's an HP-based champion, got a decent amount of HP and defense. He's got a decreased attack on the A1, 100% chance if they're under a leech, and then he has an AoE 3-turn cooldown, decreased speed, big version. Also, shield on all allies, equal 30% of this champion's max HP. Shield cannot be removed if it's placed there when they have any enemies under leech. Any enemies under leech. There we go. On the A3, we get ally protect on a 3-turn cooldown with reflect damage. Dude, again, I don't hear anybody talking about this dude. I think he's a beast of a champion, like really a beast of a champion, and he's got that AoE decreased speed. I love it. Quick honorable mention here, another example, just trying to think of other champions that almost made the list. Myra of Misery, but it's a 4-turn cooldown, you know, but Countess Elix is an insanely good champion, but we're really looking for that 3-turn. Okay, next up is going to be one of my faves. I think this might be personally my favorite champion they added this year, Legendary certainly, and that is Necmothar. I love like Mithrala, she's the best, but Necmo is my personal fave, man. This dude's a monster. He has an AoE decrease attack on his A1, 75% against targets under debuffs. On his A2, 3-turn cooldown, 100% decreased speed, and a leech on another AoE. The cool thing about this dude is he gets an increased speed on everybody, increased turn meter, then gets an extra turn. So he's one of the best decreased speed, probably I would say the best decreased speed champions flat out inside the game if you're looking for that debuff. So Necmothar is absolutely insane. And the last one is a champion that I think a lot of you guys probably have, or at least are gonna get eventually. It's Vizix. Vizix the Unbowed, that's right. So it's nice to have a little bit more of an accessible champion. The last of the champions are all a lot more accessible than the first few. Sinister Allies. This is an AoE decreased speed, ally protection on this on allies except this champion, on again a 3-turn cooldown, 100% land rate. She's also bringing the provoke on a 3-turn cooldown. Man, Vizix is so good after her buff. She was so bad before her buff. Now she's amazing. What a great champion for everybody to eventually get inside the game. Now, I'm going to kind of cheat here, guys, and I'm going to include Tainix Hate Flower, okay? It is predicated on having a critical hit, but it's important that we mention Tainix because she is another free daily login reward champion who's not nearly as bad as a lot of people, including yours truly, initially thought she was going to be, right? Heals all allies by 3% of this champion's HP with each hit on targets under decreased speed on her A1. She's kind of got those 6% total if anybody's under decreased speed, and she's, you know, she's healing a little bit on her A1, which is nice, especially for Demon Spawn Faction Wars, which is tough to get a really good healer, especially if you don't have Duchess in Demon Spawn. But there it is, guys. Spiteful Cut. 3-turn cooldown. It requires a lot of books to get up to 100%, but you can, right? 50% extra worth of books. Attacks one enemy. Has a 100% chance of placing the big version of decreased speed on the target for 2 turns. Has a 100% chance of placing decreased speed on all enemies for 2 turns instead, as long as the attack is critical. Okay? So against Spirit Affinity, you know, it's not going to be a guarantee, but in other cases, I think you're going to be pretty good with Tainix Hate Flower, relying on her as your 3-turn cooldown decreased speed champion. So I'm a big fan of Tainix. She's certainly not the best epic in the game, but I think she's very underrated. And again, she makes the list of 6 champions along with Tuok, the Wanderer, dude. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Well, I guess anybody who has Tuok can use them for decreased speed. He can also deal a lot of damage. It's cool to have a nuker on the list with the AoE decreased speed. It's something that a lot of people forget about in his kit on World of Battle. It's an AoE attack, 100% chance of placing decreased speed for 2 turns. Also places increased speed on himself, healing himself based on the damage inflicted if they have less than 50% HP when attacking. Dude, this is a really nasty ability, man. People out there, they sleep on Tuok the Wanderer. I'm telling you, man. He's got a single target attack, deals a lot of damage on Clever Brutality. He's stealing turn meter here. He's got a stun for not one, but count it 2 turns. And if this champion has less than 50% HP when attacking, he's stealing the entire turn meter and taking another turn, essentially. So I am a big fan of Tuok the Wanderer. I'm probably one of the biggest fans out there, man. I think this guy's an absolute stud of a champion, and he's got that AoE decreased speed. So guys, what do you think? Did you know these champions are the only 6 in the game that have that AoE decreased speed? Am I missing somebody? I thought I was pretty thorough in my research for today's video, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, there can't be only 6. There can't be only 6. It's because the truth is, there's a lot of champions that just don't have 100% land rate on their decreased speed, and that's what we're really looking for to maximize, especially in the longer battles like Hydra, as I said earlier in the video. All right, I'm rambling now, guys. I love you. Much love. Again, if you're going through something, I'm sending positive vibes your way today. And as always, take care, guys.